We're going to be taking a look at some Doctor Who news today because I feel like this is an important one to talk about. And whilst I'm no longer covering Doctor Who during the week on my YouTube channel because YouTube has been very weird recently, I will cover this for today. However, in the future, any Doctor Who news that I feel important to cover will be done on a Sunday, specifically because that day is Doctor Who Sunday. But before we get on with the news that I've got about Doctor Who this week, hello and welcome back to Shout About It, Don't Shout About It with me, Rachel, the Queen of the Woke, as crowned by one of my haters, not by myself. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel, switch on the notification bells so that you know I am releasing another video. Thank you to everyone who's joined me already. I cannot run this channel without you. Please do keep it friendly in the chat. I know this really does generate an awful lot of heat. So, Doctor Who TV is a very good website. I highly recommend using them wherever you can. They are very much Doctor Who fans for sure, and I appreciate the work that they do. Now, they've written this article, and this is a reference to Russell T Davies doing an interview on something called Your Manchester. Now, he said some very interesting statements. It's only a little bit, so let's take a look, and please let me know what you think on both sides of the debate. I welcome all opinions here on this channel. RTD wanted Doctor Who to move away from very straight masculine and testosterone sci-fi. That was a bit of a mouthful to say. I do apologise if that sounded bad. Reflecting on his recent work with Doctor Who, showrunner Russell T Davies revealed one of his driving goals since taking the reins again was to steer the show away from what he called very straight, very masculine, very testosterone science fiction, which is fine. It's absolutely fine to have very straight, very masculine sci-fi, but okay. Speaking in an interview with Your Manchester, Davies responded to a comment suggesting that the show had properly tapped into the LGBT side this time around. I think it was just like nudging by 1% in that direction, he said. But it's 2025, and you also have to look at what others are doing. Science fiction franchises are very straight, very masculine, very testosterone, and so that's where Doctor Who can fill a space. Right, okay, well, we saw what happened to the other sci fi franchises that tried to do that. Now, call me a prude, but unless I was watching something different in 2005, when the show returned, didn't they already have LGBT themes in it? Doesn't the Doctor kiss Captain Jack? Yeah, okay, I know it's not in a LGBT nature, but it does happen on the screen. And don't they all seem to flirt with each other? And didn't you have John Barrowman do a scene almost butt naked? And didn't we have Bill Potts, who was a lesbian, who told us that almost every single story that she's a lesbian? By the way, she's a lesbian. Did you know that? When the show returned in 2005, it always had LGBT themes, but clearly this time around, there was more free reign for him to do as he pleased. He was in full control. He took the opportunity to do what he considered was the right thing to do, but it was really more of an activist thing to do, in my opinion. He put a trans character in it. Fine. Overall, I've no issue with that until he made it clear that he was making just a scapegoat for absolutely everything to do with trans people, which in my opinion is not good casting and it's not good story writing. Now, I'm not saying that Yasmin Finney shouldn't have had the role. I'm fine with Yasmin coming in and taking on the role, but the reasons behind it is what I don't like. And I would say, in my opinion, I would feel that's a very poor representation of trans people. And then having a gay doctor. Now, I don't care with who you sleep with. Do whatever you want. Doesn't bother me. I have gay friends, but RTD was absolutely 100% okay for the doctor to go chasing after another man whilst not saving his companion, or for the basis of inserting LGBT themes to be shown on TV. You also had to reiterate, a bit like Bill Potts, all the way through that the Doctor was gay. And I would have rather had Bill Potts back. And actually, I don't mind Bill Potts as a character. I'm just going to put that out there. RTD dedicated a lot of time to virtue signaling as opposed to really good storytelling in the last few series. Now, when he brought the show back originally in 2005, yes, the show did have its LGBT themes, but it didn't virtue signal at the cost of storytelling as much as it does now. In the last few series that he came back for, he did focus on virtue signaling, and for him, that appeared to be his biggest priority. And then he also hired people who were activists and who were happy to push an agenda that the majority of the people did not really want with Doctor Who. And that had a mega knock on effect with the ratings. No matter what people say, those ratings are important to them. Even if the show carries on, ratings still have to be paid attention to because it tells them what people like and what people don't like. But it does have a knock on effect. And not only that, it has a knock on effect with the reviews as well. And according to the rumor that I addressed in another video from the Reddit page, it had a massive knock on effect allegedly with Disney. Allegedly, Disney were really shocked about what was going on with the show. It wasn't what they expected it to be, and that's why confirmation on funding was apparently postponed and has potentially been withdrawn. I did make a video entirely based on this rumor, so if you would like to see it, I will make sure that it's linked in the description. But let's continue with the article for now. Davies also stated that he doesn't consider Doctor Who a children's show. It's perfectly safe for children to watch, but it's like a family show, like a Pixar film. He added that he sets clear internal boundaries for tone, saying, I have rules on it that are quite strict, like no blood. You can have laser beams, you can have deaths, but not blood kabooming out of people. Towards the end of the interview, Davis was also asked about Billy Piper's role and dodged the question. Yeah, because he put himself into a situation that he's got no idea how he's going to get out of it. And I'm not going to write it for him. Well, one thing I will say is we all know that Doctor Who isn't a children's show. It is rated on a regular basis here PG in the UK, which is ages of 8 and up. But of course, it is really up to the parent at the end of the day. Now, I will say that it is a family show for sure, but to me, a family show doesn't necessarily require LGBT themes to be the main talking point in priority. Yeah, at some point in their lives, children will be introduced to LGBT themes. That will happen, but not at the age of 8, preferably not until they're in their teenage years. Now, at most, I would say that the children that have some kind of inkling of LGBT themes are the children that grow up with two mummies or two daddies. And that's probably the extent that they have. So I find it very interesting that there's a very strict rule on how people are disposed of in Doctor Who, but not a strict rule as to how you address LGBT themes. I would say really it should be the other way around. I would say that from 2005 up until the end of Chibnall's run, that should have been the boundary for how far you need to go with LGBT themes. Like, set that as the max. It's debatable whether or not that should have been there in the first place, but it was definitely a lot less compared to what we have now. And I would really say though, that what RTD should learn from this is that if he is not the parent of the children watching the show, then he is not the one to decide when these children are introduced to LGBT themes. I know if I were a parent, my child would be introduced to LGBT themes through a family show below a certain age is absolutely non-negotiable. It's not going to happen, and should my apparent ever child ever ask me, then I might have to find a simple way of explaining it, yes, but that is up to the parents. It's not up to RTD to put it into a TV show. If you want to put it into a TV show, we have soaps for that, like EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, Hollyoaks, many others. That's what they are there for. They are the ones that deal with it. So I would say let them deal with it. Let me know what you think. Chat about it, don't chat about it. And I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.